Welcome to A Piece of CX. This week we're taking a look at Zoom Virtual Agent Analytics. So say you've created a chat or a voice Zoom virtual agent, but you want to know how it's performing. Well, Zoom has a suite of reports that you can look at and also be alerted upon to how your bot or your virtual agent is performing. So previously you've created a chatbot on a demo platform for the East London Business Expo. And it's a fairly simple bot. It has some FAQs, it has the website, and it has a couple of tools. One skill to collect data and one skill to close down the conversation. So it's fairly simple, but still we want to know how it's performing. What we can do is we can see what tools are being utilized, also the skill usage that's going on. So not everyone is ending conversations. So we can have a look at our latency and our different types of latency there. And we can also see, it helps if I move myself up there, we can see how the AI agent is engaging, how it's containing, what the escalation rate is, and also what the cost saving is. And you can decide what that looks like. So we've got various different cost per engagements in here. So if you know what your cost per engagement is, you can very quickly see how much you're potentially saving by utilizing the bot. So this is one of our reports here where we can see what's going on, but there are others as well. So if we click on reports, we can go into virtual agent performance, which is what we were just in. We can go into overview, so we can see total engagements, non-engaged drop-offs, containment rates, current cost savings at a headline figure there, and also what our popular topics are. We can look at things in different ways. If your average turns is going up, then that means that our bot is probably not being overly effective. And likewise, our cost saving. Hopefully, we're going to see that always helping us out there and proving the ROI for our virtual agent. If we have a look at our knowledge performance, again, we can see, is our knowledge really working? What are we utilizing? It doesn't seem like we're actually using the website that much. We're using Zoom Docs for the majority of our conversations. So do we need that website? Is there something we could glean from that to improve? We can see where things have come through, if they're helpful or not. We're not collecting the feedback on that. And also how many different times certain queries have matched certain documents as well. We can go into our query insights. So again, we can see average number of queries per engagement, how many we've got in the last 31 days, and the different topics, where we've got matches, where we haven't got matches. Where we haven't got matches, we need to go and look at that and understand what's been going on to understand whether that is useful or not. So we can see we're doing some testing here, and who's the event not for? What's the event about? When is the expo? Who will win the T20 World Cup? That was me. I mean, realistically, not, that's outside of our guardrails. That's a good one to not match, for example. We can go and understand these. We can see, can I bring my dog? We can go and click on that engagement and understand that engagement in more detail as well. So we can go and look at that transcript and see what the customer said, what they asked, and all of that kind of good information. If we click away from that, we can also then look at our agent tracing and understand where our conversation went over time, how long our responses were taking, whether we've got any latency concerns and all of that kind of good stuff. If I go into my conversation details, then here I can see my total duration, my average. This is why I've put an end tool into the bot now, so that these things get wrapped up. But we can also see when there's been tool failure. Talked earlier about how we can alert on all of that as well. And we want to be checking for escalation rates, number of turns, all of that kind of good stuff. And we can see in here what details we're collecting and what went on. So we can see here, customers sent their details, Bob, from the Bob company, and their details there. But we can see how many different aspects of the conversation we are picking up, and there's all manner of different things we can add to in our settings in terms of all the different variables we could be collecting and then exporting into reports if we want to as well. So lots that we can achieve here. If I go into alerts and notifications, now this gets really interesting. I can add my alerts for, let's say, tool failure. Now, I don't expect this tool to fail because it's within the platform itself, but I can be looking for certain tools if they fail, how many, and for what agents, and the severity essentially when I'm checking, and it can send emails to me to let me know about that. So I'm going to send that in. I'm going to say twice in 10 minutes, looking through these hours. We might go 24 hours on that, and we'll just send that through. Yes, I've got that correct. And now I'm going to get alerts that tell me if that has failed. We could be looking at various different things. If the containment rate goes down, for example, we can be looking at various different things here. We could be looking at our knowledge base. We could be looking at our integration. So if our integration has started to fail, we know about it before people start calling us to tell us that we've got an issue. So lots that we can do within Zoom Virtual Agent to understand how well it is working and whether we need to improve things and tweak it, but also be aware of things if they go wrong, which is massive because it means we can be on top of those, hopefully before those customers are getting in touch to say, there's an issue with Bridgie, the East London Business Expo bot. Thank you very much for watching A Piece of CX.